So what has the Six Nations got in store for us this weekend? A couple of interesting matches. Will there actually be a chance of Wales upsetting Ireland? Which way is that Calcutta Cup going to go? And then, is France wounded enough that they might lose out to Italy over the weekend? Let's have a quick look at that. So first off, Ireland have been near flawless. So playing at home against a Welsh side, you would normally think it is not going to be anything else than Ireland absolutely crushing Wales. And you wouldn't be wrong going with that assumption. But Wales came up with an interesting idea during the week. They said they are actually going to Ireland with a goal to cause chaos. And that would be a very interesting concept actually to drive with. Because a lot of the teams that play against Ireland, for some other reason, adapt to the way that Ireland plays in a very structured, very well planned way. And you're not going to outplay Ireland on that basis. You would have to do something different. So if Wales can actually bring the chaos and they can turn this into an irregular game, then they've got a chance. Then there's actually going to be a very interesting game over in Dublin this weekend. But let's wait and see. Let's see if Wales have got something else up their sleeves that they can actually produce for this game. Before I get to the highlight of the weekend, the Scotland-England game, let's have a look at the France-Italy one. You might think that the France-Italy game is just going to be a one-sided affair in favour of France. But then you need to have a look at how France have actually started this campaign. It's been interesting. There's never been a real moment where you could say this French team is really a class act. They are up to the standards that they were at the World Cup. Far from it. There's been so many holes in their play at the Six Nations this year that it has been difficult to just see them threatening at all. At first, when the tournament started, I thought, okay, definitely just a two-horse race, but with them and Ireland. But at the moment, I think it's more a two-horse race between Ireland and Scotland. And I wouldn't be too shocked if Italy actually pick up a surprise victory this weekend. Yes, they are playing in France, but Italy is playing some very exciting rugby. Last weekend, they were just thoroughly outplayed by Ireland. But the weekend before, they pushed it close. So I would not be too shocked to see Italy coming up with a few surprises of their own. We hope it happens, but let's see. Now the Calcutta Cup is the interesting one. There are some returns from injury for the Scottish side, especially with a strengthened squad playing at Murrayfield. I just don't see this one going England's way. England have sadly regressed from the World Cup as well. They are not as structured, they are not as well oiled as they should be, and I think for I don't know how many times in a row it's now been, but that Scotland is probably going to pick up another Calcutta Cup. This one is being played at Murrayfield, and with the play at Murrayfield, it makes it a very daunting task for an English side in a very hostile environment. Looking at the table as it stands now, the position of England second on that log is very flattering, because the points difference is only 5 points from their 2 victories in total. Yes, I know South Africa went with 1 point victories all the way through the last few knockout games, so it might be enough, but there's been enough flawed performances as well that you can imagine this might go the other way. Everybody agrees Scotland were ridiculously unlucky not to get the result against France, and it's something that should have gone their way. So you can't really say, yeah, but Scotland has not been good enough. They weren't exceptional against France, but they should have taken that victory. They deserve that victory with the way that they're playing. So how I see it playing out over this weekend, I do still think Ireland will win. I think they might not win by as big a margin as they would have hoped. If Wales can bring the chaos, it's going to be a lovely game to watch for all the neutrals out there. So I'm thinking that is probably going to be about a 10 to 15 point game. Then the Scotland game, I think, is going to be about 10 points in favour of Scotland, at least. If Scotland actually get into their running and the monsters like Duran van der Merwe actually start ripping apart the English, it might get out of hand at Murrayfield this weekend. With the France-Italy game, it is just completely unpredictable. So who knows? It might be a game that results in a small victory for France. It might be a game that results in a small victory for Italy. If the wheels come off, then France will run away. But at the moment as it stands, I think it's still going to be nudged by France. So I think about a 5-point victory for France. But not a boring Six Nations by any means. It's interesting to see all the other teams competing, while Ireland has just been pure class. It is something that anybody who loves rugby can enjoy, especially in kind of preparation for the middle of the year tours. It's going to be interesting how these guys match up with the Southern Hemisphere, and that gap is constantly closing. So an interesting couple of games ahead this weekend, but the precursor to some really interesting ones when we come to the middle of the year tours.